Right, we are going to do the second reading of chapter 12, The Ministry of Healing, Ellen G. White. So I'm continuing where I stopped a week or so ago, 3 weeks ago. Time passes so quickly. If they ever become industrious and self-supporting, very many must have assistance, encouragement, and instruction. There are multitudes of poor families for whom no better missionary work could be done than to assist them in settling on the land and in learning how to make it yield them a livelihood. The need for such help and instruction is not confined to the cities. Even in a country with all its possibilities for a better life, multitudes of the poor are in great need. Whole communities are devoid of education in industrial and sanitary lines. Families live in hovels with scant furniture and clothing, without tools, without books, destitute both of comforts and conveniences and of means of culture. Okay, this was written quite a long time ago. It's a little bit easier for people to get knowledge now with internet and AI, but sometimes you can just guide them into how to use AI properly to help them to build proper gardens and proper sanitary environments for themselves. There's nearly nothing that you cannot do for yourself because of AI. I mean, if you know how to ask and which input to enter into AI, you can teach yourself basically anything. Imbruted souls, bodies weak and ill-formed, reveal the results of evil heredity and of wrong habits. These people must be educated from the very foundation. They have left shiftless, idle, corrupt lives, and they need to be trained to correct habits. How can they be awakened to the necessity of improvement? How can they be directed to a higher ideal of life? How can they be helped to rise? What can be done where poverty prevails and is to be contended with at every step? Certainly the work is difficult. The necessary reformation will never be made unless men and women are assisted by a power outside of themselves. It is God's purpose that the rich and the poor shall be closely bound together by the ties of sympathy and helpfulness. Those who have means, talents, and capabilities are to use these gifts in blessing their fellow men. Christian farmers can do real missionary work in helping the poor to find homes on the land and in teaching them how to till the soil and make it productive. Teach them how to use the implements of agriculture, how to cultivate various groups, how to plant and care for orchards. Many who will till the soil fail to secure adequate returns because of their neglect. Their orchards are not properly cared for, the crops are not put in at the right time, and a mere surface work is done in cultivating the soil. Their ill success they charge to the unproductiveness of the land. False witness is often borne in condemning land that, if properly worked, would yield rich returns. The narrow plans, the little strength put forth, the little study as to the best methods, call loudly for reform. Let proper methods be taught to all who are willing to learn. If any do not wish you to speak to them of advanced ideas, let the lessons be given silently. Keep up the culture of your own land, drop a word to your neighbors when you can, and let the harvest be eloquent in favor of right methods. Demonstrate what can be done with the land when properly worked. And that's the best method to teach any other person in life is by example. If you want people to believe what you believe, then you have to be the example of what you believe. Attention should be given to the establishment of various industries so that poor families can find employment. Carpenters, blacksmiths, and indeed everyone who understands some line of useful labor should feel a responsibility to teach and help the ignorant and the unemployed. In ministry to the poor, there is a wide field of service for women as well as for men. The efficient cook, the housekeeper, the seamstress, the nurse, the help of all is needed. Let the members of poor households be taught how to cook, how to make and mend their own clothing, how to nurse the sick, how to care properly for the home. Let boys and girls be thoroughly taught some useful trade or occupation. Missionary families are needed to settle in the waste places. Let farmers, financiers, builders, and those who are skilled in various arts and crafts go to neglected fields to improve the land, to establish industries, to prepare humble homes for themselves, and to help their neighbors. You know, I was thinking about this yesterday, about humble homes. If we spend less money on things, expensive things that can be stolen or destroyed by fire or floods, we won't be so anxious as to protect our homes. When I see these rich, expensive homes with their incredible security systems around it, which costs them thousands of rands, I just laugh. Because if you live humbly, you will not worry about people stealing your stuff, because no one would want to steal it. Live humbly. Don't let your life be about things. This is such great advice to, if you have a skill, to move with your family to an area where there is no skill and people are dying from the lack of knowledge. Move there and improve that entire region. Your life will become a life of purpose, and your family will learn so much as well. They will learn to be humble. They will learn that it's more important to give than to receive. Every single one of us has a talent that we received from God. Some of us have more than one. And if you use that talent to serve your community, to serve other people, then God will bless you. You will have more than you need. I have nothing, but I have more than most people. My entire ministry, the way that I make money, my books are written to help people. They are not frivolous books. It's books that will enrich people's lives. It's books that will draw them closer to Christ. And if you work like that, you get a blessing when you start talking to people, when you start working and sell your work. Because the nature of your books leads people to deeper conversations. So you receive the blessing, and you receive so much more from God than what you expected. So think about your life and think about, am I living a life of purpose, or am I just living to collect things? Because then you're going to be deeply disappointed, because things disappear, but experience and conversations, deep conversations with people and helping people to better their lives and teach them what you've learned as you go will enrich your life. Life just becomes so meaningful if you live like that. The rough places of nature, the wild places, God has made attractive by placing beautiful things among the most unsightly. This is the work we're called to do. Even the desert places of the earth, where the outlook appears to be forbidding, may become as the garden of God. In that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. The meek also shall increase their joy in the Lord, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. Isaiah 29:18-19. By instruction in practical lines, we can often help the poor most effectively. As a rule, those who have not been trained to work do not have habits of industry, perseverance, economy, and self-denial. They do not know how to manage. Often through lack of carefulness and right judgment, there is wasted that which would maintain their families in decency and comfort if it were carefully and economically used. Much food is in the tillage of the poor, but there is that is destroyed for want of judgment. Proverbs 13:23. We may give to the poor and harm them by teaching them to be dependent. Such giving encourages selfishness and helplessness. Often it leads to idleness, extravagance, and intemperance. No man who can earn his own livelihood has a right to depend on others. The proverb, "The world owes me a living," has in it the essence of falsehood, fraud, and robbery. The world owes no man a living who is able to work and gain a living for himself. Real charity helps men to help themselves. If one comes to our door and asks for food, we should not return him away hungry. His poverty may be the result of misfortune, but true beneficence means more than mere gifts. It means a genuine interest in the welfare of others. We should seek to understand the needs of the poor and distressed, and to give them the help that will benefit them most. To give thought and time and personal effort costs far more than merely to give money, but it is the truest charity. So if someone comes to you for help on how to make money or for food, give them food, but also help them find out what is their situation and see if you cannot help in some way to teach them how to make their own money. Those who are taught to earn what they receive will more readily learn to make the most of it. And in learning to be self-reliant, they are acquiring that which will not only make them self-sustaining, but will enable them to help others. Teach the importance of life's duties to those who are wasting their opportunities. Show them that Bible religion never makes men idlers. Christ always encouraged industry. Why stand ye here all the day idle? He said to the indolent, I must work while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. Matthew 26 and John 9:4. It is the privilege of all to give to the world in their home life, in their customs and practices and order, and evidence of what the gospel can do for those who obey it. Christ came to our world to give us an example of what we may become. He expects his followers to be models of correctness and in all the relations of life. He desires the divine touch to be seen upon outward things. Our own homes and surroundings should be object lessons, teaching ways of improvement so that industry, cleanliness, taste, and refinement may take the place of idleness, uncleanness, coarseness, and disorder. By our lives and example, we can help others to discern that which is repulsive in their character or their surroundings, and with Christian courtesy we may encourage improvement. As we manifest an interest in them, we shall find opportunity to teach them how to put their energies to the best use. Hope and courage. We can do nothing without courage and perseverance. Speak words of hope and courage to the poor and the disheartened. If you are in a position to help someone, don't break them down. Don't humiliate them because you're not helping them. If need be, give tangible proof of your interest by helping them when they come into straight places. Those who have had many advantages should remember that they themselves still err in many things, and that it is painful to them when their errors are pointed out and there is held up before them a comely pattern of what they should be. Remember that kindness will accomplish more than censure. This is so important. Remember that kindness will accomplish more than censure. As you try to teach others, let them see that you wish them to reach the highest standard and that you are ready to give them help. If in some things they fail, be not quick to condemn them. So your words must help them to believe in themselves again. Simplicity, self-denial, economy, lessons so essential for the poor to learn, often seem to them difficult and unwelcome. The example and spirit of the world is constantly exciting and fostering pride, love of display, self-indulgence, prodigality, and idleness. These evils bring thousands to penury and prevent thousands more from rising out of degradation and wretchedness. Christians are to encourage the poor to resist these influences. Jesus came to this world in humility. He was of lowly birth, the majesty of heaven, the King of glory, the commander of all the angel host. He humbled himself to accept humanity, and then he chose a life of poverty and humiliation. He never even owned a home when he lived here on earth. He usually stayed with friends. He had no opportunities that the poor do not have. Toil, hardship, and privation were a part of every day's experience. Foxes have holes, he said, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath nowhere to lay his head. Luke 9:58. Jesus did not seek the admiration or the applause of men. He commanded no army. He ruled no earthly kingdom. He was never president or general in the army. Nothing. He did not own his own home. If I understand correctly, he only had one garment. He did not court the favor of the wealthy and honored of the world. He never did miracles to get attention to himself or to be praised and made big. He could have so easily. Never, not once. He did not claim a position among the leaders of the nation because he is the leader. He dwelt among the lowly. He set at naught the artificial distinctions of society. I look at all these presidents and leaders of the world and how they receive each other and all the pomp and red carpets and all the gold. It wants to make me vomit. They are so important. But the real leader, the creator of the world, the man that created them, never ever walked on a red carpet in a palace. He was dressed in a plain linen cloth garment. He didn't even own a home. These world leaders, they all own mansions, and not one or two, most of them 3 or 5. They drive the most expensive vehicles you've ever seen in your life. Jesus never even had a car. Okay, cars didn't exist then, but I mean, he didn't have a horse. Nothing. No chariot. He walked. And I walk. Everywhere I need to go, I walk. And at 52, my body is still what it should be. He did not claim a position among the leaders of the nation. He dwelt among the lowly. He set at naught the artificial distinctions of society. I'm so glad she calls it artificial, because that's what it is. A man is great by the amount he is willing to serve, not by the amount of pomp and titles and stupid recognitions. I just laugh. It's laughable when people make themselves important. The aristocracy of birth, wealth, talent, learning, rank, he ignored all those things. He was the Prince of Heaven, yet he did not choose his disciples from among the learned lawyers, the rulers, the scribes, or the Pharisees. He passed these by because they prided themselves on their learning and position. Yes, even men in the church become so important just because they've got thousands of likes on their YouTube channel. It's laughable. I just laugh when people become so important that they think that it's their right to be indifferent towards someone who needs them. Then I know they know better than the presidents of the world who thinks they're important. They were fixed in their traditions and superstitions. He who could read all hearts chose humble fishermen who were willing to be taught. He ate with publicans and sinners and mingled with the common people, not to become low and earthly with them, but in order by precept and example to present to them right principles and to uplift them from their earthliness and debasement. Jesus sought to correct the world's false standard of judging the value of men. He took his position with the poor that he might lift from poverty the stigma that the world had attached to it. He has stripped from it forever the reproach of scorn by blessing the poor, the inheritors of God's kingdom. He points us to the path he trod, saying, "If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me." Verse 23. I calculated yesterday what will be the tax that I have to pay on my business if I made a certain amount of money. And our government in South Africa takes nearly half of your income. It is an incredible amount of your money that you made that they demand. It is preposterous. You cannot believe that they have become so evil. It is theft when they take nearly more of your money than you are making. It's theft. Their greed has raised to such proportions that your mind cannot fathom it. And they will throw you in jail if you don't give your money to them. Your hard-earned money you have to give to them. They cannot even uphold our cemeteries. Our most important cemetery in Pretoria, where I live, where all the richest statesmen and important people were buried, it's overgrown with weeds and grass. You cannot even see the little monuments at each grave. There's rubbish and filth everywhere. The gates are locked. It looks like a wasteland. That's what they do with all this money that they take from people in South Africa. They just squander it. They do not uphold our city like they should with the money that they take from us. That's theft. That's just criminal behavior. Christian workers are to meet the people where they are and educate them not in pride but in character building. No one can steal your character from you. That is the one thing that you can build up to such richness and beauty, and no one can take it away from you. Teach them how Christ worked and denied himself. Help them to learn from him the lessons of self-denial and sacrifice. Teach them to be aware of self-indulgence in conforming to fashion. Life is too valuable, too full of solemn, sacred responsibilities to be wasted in pleasing self. You basically need three outfits in life. You need a work outfit that can take a lot of hardship. You need a church outfit, and you need an outfit to sleep in. That's about it. All the rest is luxury. All the rest is extra. You need 2 pairs of shoes, work shoes and church shoes. That's it. Your meals, your food can be so simple and so cheap if you really go and think, what does my body need? And you eat according to that. Your grocery account will become so much less. There's so little that you need. Life's best things. Men and women have hardly begun to understand the true object of life. They are attracted by glitter and show. They are ambitious for worldly preeminence. To this, the true aims of life are sacrificed. Life's best things: simplicity, honesty, truthfulness, purity, integrity cannot be bought or sold. And let me tell you, out of experience, the first thing that is sacrificed when making money becomes the main object is honesty. I've seen this many times in companies. Important men committing fraud just so that they can make a lot of money. It is so heartbreaking to see it. And they teach their subordinates that it's okay to lie for business. If you know your Bible, you will know that God says that even in the smallest matters, especially in business, be honest, be 100% honest. They are as free to the ignorant as to the educated, to the humble laborer as to the honest statesman. For everyone God has provided pleasure that may be enjoyed by rich and poor alike. The pleasure found in cultivating pureness of thought and unselfishness of action. The pleasure that comes from speaking sympathizing words and doing kindly deeds. From those who perform such service, the light of Christ shines to brighten lives darkened by many shadows. And if you really want to do good to others and you pray about it, trust me, God will give you opportunities every day, every single day. And it's the most amazing feeling when you've done something for someone that cannot possibly do it back for you. It's the most rewarding feeling in the world. While helping the poor in temporal things, keep always in view their spiritual needs. Let your own life testify to the Saviour's keeping power. Let your character reveal the high standard to which all may attain. Teach the gospel in simple object lessons. Let everything with which you have to do be a lesson in character building. And let me tell you, a Christian character, a true Christian character, is not in a holy, guarded character atmosphere around you. This, you get these people that they speak with these annotations that you must realize how holy they are. It gives me such a pain in my ass I can vomit. That is not a Christian character. A true Christian character is warm, is loving. It breaks when they see someone that's in deep poverty, that's lost their grip on life. They will cry from the pain it causes them. It's someone that's in touch with the reality of what life is really like. The Russian people has a beautiful way of, when you ask them, how are you? They don't say, I'm well. They say, I'm normal. Because they say life is pain. Because the Russians has been through lots of hardship. They know what life is like. In the humble round of toil, the very weakest, the most obscure, may be workers together with God and may have the comfort of His presence and sustaining grace. And if you have God's grace, you will share it with other people, and people will feel it. Animals will feel it. When I walk the street in the day when I work, and there's a stray dog, they always come running to me. Even if I'm on the opposite side of the street, I don't know how they sense me, but they come running to me. Yeah, they're just amazing. When I go to a client's house and I sell books, their animals come from, I don't know where they come from. They just come and they climb on the couch on top of me. And while I'm still selling my books, they will push their faces into my face. And even if the owners tell them, no, get off, they don't. They just press their little bodies against me. It's the most amazing thing. I cared for a guy who was a paraplegic once. And his dogs, he had these two very big, strong stuffies. And the male stuffy couldn't leave me alone. When I sat on the couch, he would come and press his body hard against me. And he would just he can't get close enough to me. And people will sense that in you as well. They will sense that you have a loving character. And people with this holy atmosphere, I'm more holier than you, they will be put off by you, and they will become extremely aggressive towards you. You don't even have to say anything. You will just stand there and they get angry at you because you're light. It is like light against darkness. And trust me when I tell you, the darkest people that you will ever meet in your life, you will meet in church. I hate churches. I cannot stand a church building, but I go because I want to show God that I glorify Him, then I bring praise to Him, and I go there to meet Him there. But my natural nature doesn't like churches. I don't like to go to a church, but I do belong to a church. I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, and I go to the Adventist church, but it's not my most pleasant place to go to. My ministry is in the streets. It's when I walk with people and talk to people every day. They are not to weary themselves with busy anxieties and needless cares. Let them work on from day to day, accomplishing faithfully the task that God's providence assigns, and He will care for them. He says, in nothing be anxious, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Jesus Christ. Philippians 4 verse 6 and 4 verse 7. I can testify of this. I should, and I am going to write a book. My book's name will be Testify. I hope to finish it by end of January next year. But I've never prayed for something and God did not answer. He's looked after me as a single mom for 18 years, and He's still looking after my baby. Whenever I speak to her, she tells me how well she is and how good it is going with her. When I need something, I pray for it and God provides. Yes, of course I work, and I work very hard, but He always blesses my work. I've always have what I need. Even more so that in such a way that I can give to other people as well. The Lord's care is over all His creatures. He loves them all and makes no difference, except that He has the most tender pity for those who are called to bear life's heaviest burdens. God's children must meet trials and difficulties, but they should accept their lot with a cheerful spirit, remembering that for all that the world neglects to bestow, God Himself will make up to them in the best of favors. It is when we come into difficult places that He reveals His power and wisdom in answer to humble prayer. Have confidence in Him as a prayer-hearing, prayer-answering God. Amen. He will reveal Himself to you as one who can help in every emergency. He who created man, who gave him his wonderful physical, mental, and spiritual faculties, will not withhold that which is necessary to sustain the life he has given. He who has given us his word, the leaves of the tree of life, will not withhold from us a knowledge of how to provide food for his needy children. How can wisdom be obtained by him who holds the plough and drives the oxen? By seeking her as silver and searching for her as for hid treasure. For his God doth instruct him to discretion and doth teach him. Isaiah 28:26. This also cometh forth from Jehovah of hosts, who is wonderful in counsel and excellent in wisdom. Verse 29. He who taught Adam and Eve in Eden how to tend the garden desires to instruct men today. There is wisdom for him who drives the plough and sows the seed. Before those who trust and obey him, God will open ways of advance. Let them move forward courageously, trusting in him to supply their needs according to the riches of his goodness. He who fed the multitude with 5 loaves and 2 small fishes is able today to give us the fruit of our labor. There we go. He who said to the fishes of Galilee, let down your nets for a draught, and who, as they obeyed, filled their nets till they broke, desires his people to see in this an evidence of what he will do for them today. The God who in the wilderness gave the children of Israel manna from heaven still lives and reigns. He will guide his people and give skill and understanding in the work they are called to do. He will give wisdom to those who strive to do their duty conscientiously and intelligently. He who owns the world is rich in resources and will bless everyone who is seeking to bless others. A while ago, God taught me a very expensive lesson. I have about 3 street people that I look after. I buy them clothes and food from time to time. And I didn't know the first time where I would find clothes, because they are men, where I will find clothes for them. And then a lady from the flats that I live in asked me to take her. She wanted to go and look at houses in a security complex for retired people. And as she was looking at the houses, I was wandering around in the complex, and I saw that they had this little shop where people, elders that died, brought their clothes and they sold them for very cheap. So you can buy like for 100 rand 25 items. Then it's like lined jackets, beautiful dresses, and most expensive clothes for 5 rand an item. And so I buy the clothes for these street people at those places, and beautiful stuff. So I come to them with a whole heap of clothes, and they cannot understand, where do I get this clothes from? But that is how God blesses me. And I myself buy clothes there, and I always get compliments about my clothes that I'm wearing. So God will show you and he will guide you. We think we must wear the most expensive clothes. If I look at some of these presidents and I read how much their suits and their shirts and their ties cost, I just laugh. It's so funny that they would pay thousands of rands for a jacket that I buy for 5 rand. Yeah, incredible stuff. We need to look heavenwards in faith. We are not to be discouraged because of apparent failure, nor should we be disheartened by delay. We should work cheerfully, hopefully, gratefully, believing that the earth holds in her bosom rich treasures for the faithful worker to garner, stores richer than gold or silver. The mountains and hills are changing, the earth is waxing old like a garment, but the blessing of God, which spreads for his people a table in the wilderness, will never cease. What can I say? I serve an amazing God. Amen.